I'm Mo Rocca, and I'm excited to announce Season 4 of my podcast, Mobituaries. I've got a whole new bunch of stories to share with you about the most fascinating people and things who are no longer with us. From famous figures who died on the very same day, to the things I wish would die, like buffets. All that and much more. Listen to Mobituaries with Mo Rocca wherever you get your podcasts.
Everything old is new again. Hi, I'm Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. Today's episode is Nostalgic Home Trends That Are Back. And we know you love trends, and it's always fun to see some of these trends that have been out of style for a while to come back in.
Yes, and it comes back, but it doesn't come back exactly the way you saw it the first time, so that makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah, well, before we get to that, are you doing your spring decorating yet?
I've been doing a lot of spring cleaning. You know that I love that. Then, until I get that done, I'm not putting anything out. But we had so many great ideas for spring decor in our recent episode, Spring Decor Under 50. So we'll link that here in the show notes. If you haven't listened to that one, it is definitely worth a listen. It will help you kick off your spring decor and put a little spring in your step, maybe.
Okay, well, let's get started.
I'd like to kick off with rattan. I love rattan. Rattan, let's make it even wider, some caning, even some rush, like in rush seats or something like that. It's the texture that we're really after. So you could do it in a full-on accent chair, or you could just have a touch of it. Or maybe it's some caning on the front of a cabinet, or maybe it is a rush seat on your maybe kitchen chairs or something like that. I would say avoid the statement peacock chair. You know, that is not really, unless that's really your look, or, you know, it's kind of a bit of whimsy. I would probably stay away from that.
I think you could pull that off, Kelly.
Maybe I could. I mean, you know, I wanted one of those when I was little, for sure.
Didn't we all? To go with
Didn't really go with my gold and white furniture set from Sears, but I really wanted it anyway.
Well, I think it goes with a canopy bed, you know.
It does. It could. I mean, why not? Go all the way over the top.
You know what I had?
What?
I had one of those two-seater rattan swings attached to the ceiling that you could swing in.
In your room?
Yes, in my room.
Wow. From a family that used the gray fill-in station paint a lot. I mean, that seems like a departure.
Well, this was a special request. I asked for this specific wide swing, and I would just kind of sit in that in the window and read my books and look out the window and put my feet up. Oh, yeah, it was fun.
Okay, I really like hearing that, because sometimes it makes me sad when you talk about when you were little. So I'm so glad you had that.
Well, the other thing I wanted to mention, because we're talking about the rattan and the cane seats and everything, is, when I think of rattan, I think of, a breezy summer porch, a glass of lemonade, the smell of mown grass, and a floppy hat. I mean, so when you think of these things that are nostalgic, I think that certain elements bring up these memories and these thoughts that make it even more special than the item just in and of itself. So for the rattan, yeah, it reminds me of that swing I had in my bedroom or sitting on a porch somewhere. And I think that's why these things are so special to us, but also to the caned pieces. I have quite a few cane pieces, and they're really beautiful, but you do need to be careful because, a lot of these antique pieces or vintage pieces that have a cane seat, it does break easily. So you're going to have to be very careful with that.
Absolutely. Seating discouraged. Sitting, I should say, discouraged for those chairs. And I love what you said. And I love the idea that using some rattan in your house, or even just thinking about it today, brought back that great memory and that you shared it with us. I'm going to point everybody in the direction of Lulu and Georgia for their Hannah collection. So there's a lot of pieces in this collection. There's caning on the front, and then it's encased in a light wood. They definitely have a very fresh, modern feel, but they're giving you that essence of the caning, of the texture, of the rattan feel. So have a look there. I'm actually going to be using the console piece in a client's office. We're completely transforming her office, which was a place where kind of the misfit furniture landed, and she's making it all sort of work. But now we're going to do the whole thing over, and she's going to have such a beautiful office. And this is going to be our focal point piece. So have a look. The link will be in the show notes. What's your next one?
Floral wallpaper. And I was kind of sad when the floral wallpaper went out because I had some beautiful floral wallpaper that I loved in our old house, but we had to paint over it because I knew that it was just not going to be the thing at the time. But now it's back again, and I think it's just so happy and cheery to have floral wallpaper. So I'm very happy to see it back, and I'm thinking of our friends at Pasted Paper and my favorite Morris Lester wallpaper and the Kilburn Dark Botanical. Those are some of my very favorites.
Oh, I love that Dark Botanical. It's gorgeous. It is really would be so wonderful in a bedroom, a powder room, a bathroom. And you're right. It's the floral wallpaper that is the nostalgic trend. We all know that wallpaper has really come back on the scene in all types of iterations, whether it's more modern stripes or geometrics or adhesive, different applications, or the more traditional wallpaper with the paste. But the idea for this trend is floral and on a bigger, bolder scale. I think it's fabulous too. Have a look at that, and we will link the pasted paper that Anita mentioned in the show notes. Here's one people might not think about too much, and maybe you don't even know what it is. Maybe this is a good DTT define word. Cremone bolts. Dun, 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 dun. I have them. They are fastening used on double doors or casement windows. They're long vertical rods, and the bolts go into the ceiling or the casing and then into the floor. But the idea of them is that they're exposed. They're surface mounted, so they make a big statement. Now, when I think of Cremone bolts, I think of them in maybe an old French chateau or even an apartment building where you'd be opening it up and flinging the doors open to your Juliet balcony. But it is really going to be a statement on any of your doors, or I was thinking even on cabinet doors. Say if you had tall pantry doors that can be rather plain in your kitchen, and sometimes a pull, certainly a knob, but a pull too, depending on the size of it, might just be dwarfed on a big, long door like that. So a Cremone bolt might just be the answer. So if you're not familiar with what Cremone bolt is and you want to see them, there'll be a link in the show notes. I linked to the House of Antique Hardware, but many, many companies make these. I'm sure you could find vintage ones, but these reproductions are great and probably would be a lot easier to then use, for your application rather than trying to retrofit a vintage piece.
Oh, I love those. Those are so beautiful. And while we're talking about these sort of finishes like that, I'm thinking about brass and how much I love brass. It was totally out for so long. I know you've had it for a while. But it is just heating up more and more. I see it everywhere now in new homes. So this is definitely the go-to metal everywhere, and it looks beautiful with white, gray, about any color out there, and I'm excited to see it back.
Brass is so lovely. It's so warm. It's very approachable. I have all unlacquered brass or the brass that looks unlacquered. All my faucets and whatnot are truly unlacquered. You have to be ready to live with the idea that it's going to patina over time. But even a shinier brass or a brushed brass has come back too. Now, it's not going to be in an incarnation of that brass colonial type of chandelier that was around in like maybe the early 80s. That's not really what we're talking about. It's nostalgic in the finish, I don't think we've been away from those exact type of chandeliers long enough for them to really come back full blast.
No, you're right. I mean, they're not in that, but they're more in the pulls and handles for cabinetry, faucets, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because it was oil rub bronze for so long. Then it was the brushed nickel, and now we're returning to the warmth of the brass, and I love it.
So if you changed out your brass doorknobs for oil rub bronze, now I hope you saved the old brass ones to put them back on.
Yeah, put them back on. How about wood paneling? Now, everybody can conjure up a wood paneled, maybe TV room, family room, basement room that at some point in their lives they have been in. And you think, oh, paneling makes everything so dark and feels like a little dingy and kind of closed in. But look at wood paneling with fresh eyes. Envision it in a different type of room and envision it really adding a lot of interest to a space. I was looking all around and I found a great article from House Beautiful that has about, I think, close to 20, maybe 16 to 20 different rooms using wood paneling. Okay, what's next?
Retro appliances, and I love these. You know, I have a retro toaster and a retro hot pot and mixer in kind of an aqua color that I just adore. But now you can get large appliances like a vintage looking refrigerator or a vintage looking range. Smeg has some options for you. And I just looked, Home Depot is selling a brand called Galanz, Galanz, refrigerators, and they come in several colors. They are much more reasonably priced than you might expect. They come in red, black, soft blue, or white. And these are just so fun to have the colors in your kitchen. There's also some smaller refrigerators from Magic Chef that I also found that were nice at Home Depot. You can also go to Elmira Stoveworks for some fun colors and retro appliances as well.
So charming. Yeah, I know of Smeg, and then there's also Big Chill. They do the refrigerators. They may do other appliances as well. And then I found this company, and I have no idea if I will be pronouncing this correctly. It's ILVE. So I've lived, something like that. But I'll have the link in the show notes. It feels like just put the L on the I on the other side of the L and make it live, and I'll have no problem pronouncing it. But it's ILVE.
I saw that and I thought, I'm not going to recommend it because I have no idea how to pronounce it.
Because I don't know how to say it. Kelly will make herself sound silly and try to pronounce it. But they have a nostalgia series. They're gorgeous, and they're not cute. You know, they don't look like they came out of a 1950s soda shop. These look more like the French ranges that Anita and many people lust over.
Yes.
Gorgeous. They're not that inexpensive, but they are comparable with another type of higher end range, a more contemporary one that somebody might be considering. So we'll have links to all those options for the retro appliances in the show notes, and you can check them out.
What's your next item?
Handmade tile. Now, we do talk a lot about when we're suggesting to use Subway, either in a bathroom or a kitchen backsplash. But no, you don't have to go to, and oftentimes I say, you don't have to go to Ann Sachs. But here's what I'm going to say to you. If you want the feel and this nostalgic feel of handmade tiles, because there is something about the idea that a human hand created something, it gives it instant warmth, soul, and this feel that you're not going to get with a 69-cent tile, right? That's pressed out. You might not want to do a large area with it because it'll be more expensive, but handmade tile is coming back in a big way. It's another one of these nostalgic trends because at one point, you know, all the tiles were handmade, right? Mm-hmm. But Ann Sachs is such a beautiful collection and lots of different designers that have specialty collections within her own collection. And so that will be linked in the show notes and you can poke all around. They're gorgeous. I mean, there's just no way around it.
Another thing that seems to be coming back are archways. And I mean, that's something that's coming in new homes where I am. And I think that's a nice option. It's a nice feature item in your home. And I'm actually seeing a lot of nicer architectural details in new homes that I haven't seen in a while. So I'm very excited to see this kind of attention to detail, having beautiful finishes and beautiful woodwork in the home. So I think that's really coming back.
And along those same lines with the arch, the curve, it's curvilinear, which is just so fun to say, curvilinear silhouettes for furniture. Now, we've talked about this before. It was a trend coming on, but it seems to have really taken hold. I'm not a giant fan of the curved furniture because I think it's hard to set up a room. Your room has to be big enough to allow for it. But if you have the space, it can be a wonderful way to set up your living room or family room because it's really invites people to converse. It's great for entertaining. And so I found an article that shows all sorts of different ones, actually even one that's curved, but the back of it is a 90-degree angle. So you could put it in the corner, but the front of the sofa is curved. That's pretty cool. And there's this green tufted one in this article that I'm going to link that is just out of this world. So see what you think about those silhouettes. And that's something that it has been around like in the 20s and then the 50s. It was pretty popular. And now we're seeing it again.
Yeah, I agree with you that it's really hard to make those work in a house. So that is something you have to be careful with. It kind of reminds me of when my in-laws had this house in the mountains, and it was a Rondizic. And so each room wasn't square. It's a 13-sided house.
Oh,
so
wow.
Each room was almost like a piece of pie, and it was very difficult to arrange furniture in that house. And so when you have odd-shaped pieces, you have the same situation where it's not going to work just everywhere. So you do need to kind of keep that in mind if you're buying something that's kind of an odd shape.
Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about. Visit greenchef.com, greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order.
So the next thing on my list is vintage rugs.
That's the next thing on my list too.
What?
Can you believe
Stop it. I think these are such a nice thing to add to your home. I just love the look of a vintage rug in my home. And, you can get them at not only antique stores, you can get them on eBay. There's also a site called Revival Rugs, and they sell vintage rugs, but they also kind of refresh them and kind of give them, I know this is going to sound weird, but kind of cut the excess. They kind of give them a shave, basically. And I know it sounds strange, but that's what they do to them. And they dye them and clean them. So there's that option. Or you can just buy the old rug on eBay, but it might need to be cleaned. It might need to be washed, but that's a great place to buy them and probably some of the best prices. And, you may live in an area where you can't buy them locally.
My source for vintage rugs is Elsie Green. She has two great shops in California, up in Northern California, and she's also got a nice online presence. You can find her on Instagram, and you can check out her site and her shop. I'll link it in the show notes. She has gorgeous vintage rugs. Anita, there's one in particular that I think you would just go crazy for. They're not inexpensive. So you're talking about spending well over $1,000, maybe somewhere up around $1,500 for maybe 5x7, 8x10, but they are stunning and they are going just to add so much character to your home. I don't want to spend a lot of money on my rugs because I have 3 little doggies, but if I didn't have 3 little doggies, I would be adding some vintage rugs to my house.
Well, remember, wool repels a lot of stains, so... But, if they're...
Yeah, we don't need to get my inability to repel.
Anything else on your list?
Yes, earth tones. Now, it's not Tuscany, everybody. It's different kinds of earth tones. It's
autumnal?
It's not even autumnal. I would think they're almost like... There's kind of a mashup of maybe the 70s colors, the avocados and the toasted yellows and all of that. But they seem to be a little more muted. I would even say there's some of those Southwest colors floating around out there, but not in that obvious Southwest coyote sort of way. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly
the peach
what you're
and
talking
the
about.
blue. Yeah, no. It's different, just like we said, it's not going to be the same, but the earth tones are coming back. So the grays are not gone. The whites are not gone. But there's another option now. These nostalgic colors are coming back. One that I'm seeing in lots and lots of places, and I would put in this category of nostalgic earth tones, is Farrow & Ball's setting plaster. It's a pink. It's very dusty, but it's very natural looking. It's almost like skin toned. You have to see it and then look at it. If you like it, or you think, oh, I'd like to see this in a room, just Google around and you'll see it in lots of different rooms. It seems to be a color that a lot of designers are using right now. And then I have schoolhouse lights. Now, if you have seen the tours of my kitchen and whatnot, you know that I have schoolhouse lights in many places in my house. And I wanted them so badly for this house because I thought it really suits it. And sometimes you just need a light that's going to be in keeping, but it's not going to make a big wow, because like in my kitchen, I have a chandelier. I can't have 2 other chandeliers competing with it. So in the other side of my kitchen, I just have these 2 simple school lights. Now, you could go spend somewhere between $300, maybe I've even seen them up to like $625 for these schoolhouse lights. But if you follow my tips, you buy the shade at Home Depot or Lowe's, then you buy the kit that attaches the shade and the bulb and actually makes the electricity all work, also at a place like Home Depot or Lowe's. And that combo will be something like $20, maybe a little more with tax. Yeah. So I've linked the schoolhouse light, and I think I might have linked one from Rejuvenation or one of those shops. Gorgeous. You can buy the whole thing and it's beautiful. but you can get a very similar, if not almost exact replica of that for 1/10 of the price. And a schoolhouse light, if you don't know what it is, it's that sort of bulbous, like picture what would be in an old schoolhouse, right? Sort of bulbous, usually white. They can be clear as well. And then they kind of come to a point. It's not a boob light. No, not a boob light.
No.
But it is a semi-flush mount. So you can have a look in the show notes and click through. I have the link to an expensive one. I have a link to the shade and then also the kit that you would need to make it work, both from Home Depot in the show notes.
Oh, I've got to check these out. I love those lights, and what a great price.
Anita, I have to tell you, French mirrors are also on our Nostalgic Trends tour.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Anita says about the French chair, a French mirror is so stunning and really will go with anything. I think the whole theory about the French chair working in also applies to the French mirror. You can get an actual antique, of course, and they come in so many different sizes, but I found a company called West Mirrors, and they have a whole section just French mirrors, and they have some beautiful options, and they come in lots and lots of different sizes. They have this one that could be a leaner or a hanger, and it starts out the 15 inches wide up to, I think, 48 inches wide.
Wow.
So there's a lot of variety, a lot of choices. They also had the 2 mantle mirrors that I just thought were so beautiful. So they're not as wide, but they're longer. And then they have, of course, some French detailing on the top. One is a little more ornate than the other one. I'll link that in the show notes as well to the whole selection of French mirrors at West Mirror, so you can have a look.
So are we ready for DTT defines?
Yeah, tell us what it is.
A trestle table. It's a long, narrow table with 2 T-shaped uprights that are joined by a single stretcher for added support. So think of a long table. Each leg is an upside-down T. So the feet are basically the top of the T. And then there's a long piece of wood or other material that attaches one leg to the other near the floor.
That's a good thing to know. Yes, I thought you described it really well. Would you think they would be console tables more or dining tables, or it could be either?
Oh, either one, but I've seen a lot of dining tables that are trestle tables.
I'm running through my inventory.
I think of round top out on somebody's porch. Don't you picture that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I'm running through my own personal inventory because I'm sure I have one.
Oh,
like I know I have one of those.
I don't have one.
Oh,
no.
Well, there you go. Well, next time you see one at an estate sale, then you have to get one because you don't have one. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold at the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfast, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. My crush is something everyone's going to want to get their hands on, particularly if you're interested in gardening or if you are someone who likes to grow their own veggies or herbs or somebody who wants to get into doing that. This is the most beautiful book, and you may be familiar with the author. The author is Linda Vater, Vater, and Linda blogs at the Potager blog. She also has a very big presence on Instagram and YouTube. She's been in her beautiful brick Tudor-style home, I think, for about 30 years, and she started with a very sad landscape because the befores are in this book and what she has done to transform this garden. So her whole idea is to partner ornamentals, so flowering or shrubs, with edibles in such a beautiful way. She's a self-taught gardener, so, from the school of hard rocks or hard knocks, as we say in gardening, she's figured it out. Her gardens just have incredible storybook appeal, and then you can harvest a lot of what she's growing. So I highly recommend this book to everyone. The cover is gorgeous and it just gets better after you open it up. And Linda just seems like a really lovely person. I've watched some of her YouTube videos, so I think you'll really enjoy it. We'll have the links to the book and other places you can find Linda in the show notes.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Well, we were recently in North Carolina in our favorite little town, Black Mountain, and I was drinking my favorite drink from the little coffee place there called the Drippolator.
I've been there. Remember, yes. I went there after I left your house.
That's
it is
right.
Darling.
Yeah, that's right. So I thought, well, it was so delicious. We've started making this drink at home, and it's really great at home as well. So I thought, well, I'm going to share it with everyone.
That's so good to know because sometimes you just can't make it at home.
Killer Bee Latte is the name of it. So you're just going to make your coffee or your latte the way you normally do, but you're going to add about a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more of honey and cinnamon to taste, and give it a shake. And if you want a kick, you can add a dash of cayenne pepper. But
Ooh,
that's the Killer Bee.
That sounds great. So when you say give it a shake, so is it cold? Or is it hot?
No, I'm sorry. Give the cinnamon a shake to put some cinnamon in there. Well, you can drink it cold or hot. I mean, it works with cold coffee or hot coffee. We've been having it every day here. It's just so good. We're always saying, oh, yeah, make me a Killer Bee.
Oh, I love it. That's so fun. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.